Oh, hey there. It's good to see you again. Thank you for turning on your podcast player. My name is Fuzz Martin, and this is 15 Minutes with Fuzz, the show where I find the positive things that are happening in Washington County, Wisconsin, and I put them right into your ears. Just like I am right now. Hey, if you're a fan of the show, please be sure to subscribe to the show. If you're on Spotify, it's super easy. Click the follow button. It's a nice big follow button at the top of the page, and then click the little bell icon. On Apple Podcasts, with the latest update, they've made it really difficult. There's a little tiny plus icon in the upper right-hand corner of the app. If you click on that, you'll be subscribed, and hopefully you'll enjoy the show. And if you have Google Podcasts, I have no idea how to do it. However, I assume it's easier than Apple. This week, West Bend City Administrator Jay Shambeau returns to the show to talk about all of the cool things happening in West Bend. From the Riverwalk project to the old Shopko building, we get a peek into what to expect in the coming months, and this stuff is really cool. And with that, here are 15 more minutes on the City of West Bend with Jay Shambeau right here on 15 Minutes with Fuzz. Jay, congratulations. After 36 episodes, you are my first repeat guest, other than my wife, Shanna, here on 15 Minutes with Fuzz. So welcome back.
Thank you. Awesome. I'm happy to be back.
And actually, you are the second most listened to episode that it ever had. So,
awesome. I'll take that too.
Yeah. Keith Novotny has lots of friends on Facebook that listen. So
he's a tough kid.
Yeah, exactly. So I called you back because since our last conversation, there's been a ton of really good news going on around West Bend and things that are moving to improve the city, rejuvenate some things, and bring some new funds and opportunities into the city. So let's talk a little bit about that. We've got a whole bunch of things from the Riverwalk and the old Shopko building, the Main Street reconstruction, and the new funding for the City of West Bend Police Department. So where do we want to start?
Wherever is great. You're right. There is a lot of exciting things going on in West Bend right now. The Riverwalk is probably an appropriate place to start.
Yeah.
The grant that we received from the Neighborhood Investment Grant from the state, it's federal money that's funneled through the state, and it was a really competitive grant process where we feel really fortunate that we were able to secure some funds for this project.
Sure. So does that mean that it's ready to run now? And I mean, I think they were doing cleanup a couple weeks ago, right?
And the Parks Department removed some trees in advance of the construction project. And yes, we awarded the bids at the city council recently. So the project is definitely underway. We're going to construct the phase 2 of the project, which is from the MOA or Pocket Park Bridge.
Okay.
South down to Veterans Park. That'll be under construction throughout all of 2022.
Okay,
and potentially spilling into 23 to finish up a little bit. That construction project will include the alley.
Okay.
So the alley is going to get a facelift between the Hussar House of Diamonds and the theater building.
Sure.
That'll be exciting to see. That has been mothballed for a bit. So to have that reopened will be a pretty exciting new pathway connection from Main Street down to the river.
Great. So then the first steps with that is obviously they're doing some clearing, but then is that utilities that comes through first, or how does that work?
So thankfully we knocked the utilities out in 2021.
Okay.
We don't have to do that in advance of this project. We just get underway.
Just get right to the construction.
Right.
Oh, awesome. So, and are people loving the bird, by the way?
I think so. The bird is pretty cool.
The bird is pretty cool. I smile every time I drive past that. So then that's from the MOA Bridge, you said, south to Veterans, and then the next step would be going north up to the district. Is that right?
Yeah, concurrently in 2022, we're going to do phase 4 of the project, which is actually in front of the district, or between Washington Highway 33 and the skate park.
Okay.
That section of the Riverwalk will receive a facelift in 2022 to try to time it with the finishing of the district building.
And then is the last part going to be underneath the tunnel underneath 33 or Washington?
Right. Phase 3 Riverwalk is including the tunnel under Highway 33 and the BMO parking lot, the Ziegler building parking lot. We're going to revamp those and include a new, pretty awesome kayak and canoe launch.
Oh, great. Awesome. So big things. That's awesome. That's great news. And it'll be good for just improving the walkability of the city, the downtown experience. and kind of be that centerpiece for West Bend. So
Yeah, the East Side Riverwalk received tons of love and use, and we're expecting the same for the West.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great. Let's stick downtown and talk about recently there was a bid board meeting to unveil some Main Street reconstruction efforts. Talk about what we're going to see there.
That's an exciting project as well, one that will be disruptive for our businesses for short term,
Sure.
but for definite long-term gain. The intent is to revamp, so to speak, the design of the Main Street project. In the 80s, the bricks that were put in along the sidewalks have proven to be complicated to maintain and trip hazards at times for folks. The bump outs have done their job to slow traffic. They've also eaten up some parking, and as the viability of our downtown becomes greater, the demand for parking becomes greater as well. And so some of the bump outs will be removed and narrowed a bit to allow for additional parking. That's one of the exciting features of the Main Street reconstruction. We're designing it now in 2022.
Okay.
And so that meeting for the bid board formed a subgroup transportation committee, and they've met a bunch of times to suggest some design things, some design elements. And our engineering team is working on that design, and we'll be constructing the project in 2023.
And so one of the other parts too is they're raising the road up, right? People who have disabilities and things, they don't need to step up stairs to get to the sidewalk.
As much as possible.
Yeah.
There'll be some steps still involved in some areas, but
Sure.
we think we can raise the road to eliminate historic stepping situation.
Lots of curbs and jumps and things like that. So it'll be good if you got a stroller, if you're in a wheelchair, or if you have trouble getting around. That should be a lot more improved. So then also a couple loading areas I think you guys are talking about, and a lot of other things that are good for the businesses.
New lighting and just a lot of cool features. Yep.
Yeah, great. Now over south side on South Main Street, Shopko left, what was it, like 4 years ago?
2018.
Yeah. And that building sat empty. And we're all wondering if anything was ever going to come of it, or if they're going to have to raise it, or what's going to happen. But you guys now have an owner, correct?
We do. We have a developer out of Florida. That company, Corda Development, has purchased a few Shopkos in Wisconsin, and we're fortunate that they became interested in ours as well.
Sure, yeah.
And the 4 businesses that are coming into there, the community's really excited about.
So what are those 4 businesses again, if you remember off the top of your head?
I can. Sierra, Five Below, Big Lots, and Home Goods are the 4.
Home Goods is probably going to be a problem for some of us in my family. Yeah. It's a good store. A problem in a good way for them and for our home as well.
That's an awesome redevelopment. If I may, the city-county partnership on that project is worthy of noting as well. The economic development of Washington County arm of the county, and the city council saw this as important enough to incentivize a blighted site and to come together and partner with some funding to help this developer make it happen.
There's a lot of traffic that goes past there, and just to have that big empty building, blighted building, it's unfortunate that Shopko had to close, but having it redeveloped will be good for the city, for bringing more business, bringing more people there to shop, and it's exciting, and jobs and all that.
Tax base, quite frankly.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's a big deal for us as well.
Yeah, definitely. Are there more developments going on? Are there anything that you can talk about that we know of yet?
Well, on the Shopko property, that's kind of a sneaky big parcel. And so the Corda team has some ideas for additional developments in the massive parking lot that's there, but nothing that's come to fruition yet.
Fun fact, when I was doing the morning show on the radio station back in the day, I used to pull into the Shopko parking lot along the line of trees there in their large parking lot, and I used to take a nap at like 10 o'clock in the morning every day after the show.
That is a fun fact.
Because I'd get in at like 4 in the morning, and then I'd be there till like 3 in the afternoon sometimes. So I need a little power nap. In addition to all that, it was just announced from Governor Evers that there's a grant to the city for the police department, correct? For some funding?
Yep, that is correct. The Governor Evers' office, the DOA, has put out some money for all cities that have police departments. And we're fortunate to secure just under $100,000 for that. The police department in West Bend has been considering a canine unit for a few years now. It's been in the capital budget and something that they've been working toward. So this, we think, will go a long ways to funding that program.
Great. Awesome. And with that program, not only comes the canines themselves, which I assume are expensive to train, but also training the officers to be canine trained officers, right?
Yep. And Chief Daring is looking into that and really exploring it in more detail.
Anything else going on in the city that we can look forward to?
Well, we talked a little bit about downtown and the Riverwalk. I think maybe the facade grant program is worthy of mention before we depart. The facade grant program has been around for a long time in the city of West Bend. It hasn't had funding in the last few years. So what the program is, it puts up funds that are available for businesses to apply for and match with matching funds, and then they can improve historically it's been the front or the Main Street facing side of the downtown area. This new program that the Business Improvement District put out and had some funding tied to it in 2022 was really focused on the backs of the building.
Sure.
So the river facing side that we hope businesses continue to improve and might become the new front of their building. That program, when we put it out, received a ton of applications, way more than the funding that we have available. So it really identified maybe a new need within the city.
Sure.
And something that we're excited about working towards fixing in the future.
It's going to be interesting to see how the businesses change with that new focal point behind them and moving into that river facing kind of operation. It should be kind of, a lot of different cities and things have done this, and it's been really great, and it's walkable and it's beautiful and really brings some life to that. And plus you add that in with some of the new apartment developments with the district and other things down on the other side of
Charles
Washington.
Edge. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it's great to hear your excitement about it. We're certainly excited about it at the city, and we really think it can be transformational with the businesses and some new businesses coming into the backs of those buildings as well.
For sure. Well, Jay, you're welcome to come back anytime. Maybe you'll be our first third-time guest as well in a few months. Congrats on all the great things going on, and thanks for your hard work and making it happen, and you and your team. It's been exciting to be in West Bend.
Thanks, Fuzz. Appreciate being here.
Thank you again to West Bend City Administrator Jay Shambeau for joining me on the show today. Again, if you enjoy 15 Minutes with Fuzz, then make sure it shows up on your phone every Monday. Click the subscribe button, which is either a giant follow button or a little bitty plus sign, depending on where you listen to your podcasts. If you ever have an idea for the show, get in touch with me, fuzz.cc/guest. That's fuzz.cc/guest. I have a lot of great suggestions and episodes coming up, and I'll even have a bonus episode coming out on Wednesday this week because we have so many things going on, which is great. I really like that, and I appreciate all of you who have reached out. Be sure to follow on Facebook and Instagram. It's at 15 with Fuzz, and we'll talk to you in a few days right here on 15 Minutes with Fuzz.